Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Fix, and we are back with another epic What If Naruto fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto walked away from Hinata and fell in love with multiple women, part 1 inch. If you love Naruto fanfics, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey with me. So, let's start the fanfic. The wind carried a heavy stillness across the village of Konoha. It had been months since the war had ended, and life was slowly returning to normal. The buildings were being rebuilt, families reunited, and laughter could once again be heard echoing through the streets. Yet, beneath that peace, there were still wounds, emotional ones, that hadn't healed. Naruto Uzumaki stood at the top of the Hokage monument, gazing at the village that had always rejected him and then, eventually, celebrated him as a hero. His blonde hair danced in the breeze, his blue eyes holding an unusual mixture of pride and loneliness. For the world, he was the savior of the shinobi world, the boy who never gave up, the one who defeated Kaguya and ended the cycle of hatred. But for Naruto himself, things weren't so simple. Hinata Hyuga had confessed to him years ago during the Pain invasion, standing bravely in front of certain death, declaring her love without hesitation. In the chaos of the war, their bond had deepened, and everyone thought it was inevitable, Naruto and Hinata would be together. Even Naruto, at first, believed it. She was kind, supportive, and had always been there when no one else had. She admired him when the world hated him. But as time passed after the war, Naruto realized something inside him wasn't satisfied. He tried to ignore it, tried to convince himself that what he had with Hinata was love. But every time he looked into her pale lavender eyes, he felt gratitude, not passion. Respect, not fire. And Naruto, who had lived his whole life chasing bonds, couldn't lie to himself anymore. One evening, under the soft glow of the sunset, Naruto finally spoke. Hinata, you've done more for me than I can ever repay. You believed in me when no one else did. But, my heart, it's restless. I don't feel the same way you do. I'm sorry. Hinata's lips trembled, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. But she wasn't weak, she had grown strong in the war, just like everyone else. She nodded silently, forcing a small smile even as her heart shattered. I understand, Naruto-kun. You've always chased after the truth of your heart. I can't stop you now. Naruto turned away, guilt stabbing through him. Walking away from Hinata was one of the hardest decisions he had ever made, but deep inside, he knew it was necessary. He didn't want to live a lie, not with someone who deserved more than that. Answer, Naruto's journey of love began anew. The days that followed were strange. Naruto buried himself in missions, training, and paperwork under Kakashi, the newly appointed 6th Hokage. Yet, despite his busy life, his mind wandered. He began noticing the women around him, their strengths, their struggles, their beauty, and something inside him stirred. Sakura Haruno was the first. His teammate, his friend, the girl he once chased relentlessly before realizing she loved Sasuke. But now, things were different. Sasuke had left once again on his redemption journey, and though Sakura said she would wait for him, Naruto noticed the cracks in her resolve. They trained together often, sparred until exhaustion, and in those moments, Naruto saw a side of her that wasn't just the Aborn teammate or the healer who saved countless lives. It was a woman who longed for someone to truly understand her pain. One evening after training, Sakura collapsed on the grass, sweat dripping from her forehead. You're still as reckless as ever, Naruto, she teased, punching his shoulder lightly. Naruto chuckled, lying beside her, staring at the stars. Guess that makes two of us, huh? For a long moment, silence lingered between them. Then Sakura's voice softened. Do you ever feel empty, even after getting everything you wanted? Naruto turned his head toward her, surprised. He saw the vulnerability in her eyes, the longing she tried to hide behind her strength. Something in his chest tightened. Yeah, I do, he admitted quietly. Their eyes locked, and in that fragile silence, Naruto realized, Sakura wasn't just his teammate anymore. She was someone who understood his loneliness better than anyone. But Sakura wasn't the only one. Ino Yamanaka had always been bold, confident, and playful. She teased Naruto whenever they met, throwing flirty remarks his way, but it had always been harmless fun. Or so he thought. After the war, Ino was rebuilding her clan's reputation and running the Yamanaka flower shop. Naruto often dropped by, sometimes to buy flowers for memorials, sometimes just to talk. And slowly, he began to notice the way Ino's smile lingered a little longer when he walked in, the way her eyes softened when she teased him. One day, as Naruto stood awkwardly in the shop, trying to pick flowers for Neji's grave, Ino walked up behind him. "You know," she said with a smirk, "you're terrible at picking flowers. Good thing you've got me." Naruto scratched the back of his head sheepishly. "Yeah, I guess I don't really get it." Ino leaned closer, her voice dropping. "But maybe, you're better at picking people." Her words sent a strange shiver down his spine. For the first time, Naruto realized Ino's playful banter hid something deeper. A quiet admiration for the boy who never gave up. Then there was Temari of the Sand. Their connection wasn't romantic at first, it was political. As Gaara's trusted ally, she often visited Konoha for diplomatic meetings. Naruto, being the hero of the war, was frequently by her side during these talks. Temari was strong, sharp-tongued, and never afraid to call Naruto out on his recklessness. At first, they clashed constantly. But the more they argued, the more Naruto found himself drawn to her fiery spirit. During one mission together, they were forced to camp in the wilderness. As the fire crackled, Temari glanced at Naruto. "You're not what I expected," she admitted. Naruto tilted his head. "What do you mean?" Quote, "I thought the so-called hero of the war would be arrogant. But you're just a fool with too much heart." Naruto laughed, scratching his cheek. "Guess that's me, huh?" Temari smirked, but there was warmth in her eyes. "It's not a bad thing. Maybe, it's what makes you dangerous." Naruto couldn't help but blush. As the weeks turned into months, Naruto found himself torn between emotions he never expected. His bond with Sakura deepened, Ino's playful affection warmed his heart, and Temari's fierce spirit clenched him in ways no one else could. He had walked away from Hinata, thinking love wasn't meant for him. But now, love seemed to be everywhere, in different forms, pulling him in directions he couldn't control. Naruto Uzumaki, the boy who once had nothing, was now surrounded by women who saw him not as a monster, not as just a hero, but as a man. And for the first time in his life, Naruto wasn't sure what path his heart would take. 9/21, 11:39 a.m., Vivavat, Naruto's life became complicated in ways he had never imagined. Missions, paperwork, rebuilding the village, these were things he could handle. But matters of the heart, that was something entirely new for him. Every day brought unexpected encounters, moments that left his heart beating faster, his mind restless. Sakura was the first to notice. Training with Naruto had become routine again, but now there was something unspoken between them. When their fists clashed in sparring, when their eyes lingered just a second too long, when Sakura's laughter carried a softness that hadn't been there before, it all felt different. One night, after another intense session, Sakura surprised him. "Hey, Naruto," she said quietly, sitting on the steps of the training ground. "Do you regret it?" Naruto tilted his head. "Regret what?" Walking away from Hinata. Her green eyes searched his, both curious and cautious. Naruto hesitated, guilt briefly flashing across his face. But then he sighed, his voice steady. "No, I don't regret it. She deserves someone who can love her the way she deserves. And me, I'm still figuring out what my heart wants." Quote, Sakura stared at him, and for a moment, it felt as if time froze. She reached out, brushing a strand of his blonde hair away from his forehead. The touch was gentle, but it carried an intimacy that left Naruto speechless. Sakura's lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to say more, but instead she pulled back quickly, cheeks flushed. "Forget it, let's get some ramen." Naruto laughed awkwardly, but inside, he knew something had shifted between them. Meanwhile, Ino wasn't one to sit quietly. Her natural confidence made her bold, and she enjoyed challenging Naruto in ways others didn't. She dragged him to the flower shop more often, insisting he needed to learn how to pick beauty. But every time she leaned in close, every time her hand brushed against his while handing him a bouquet, Naruto felt his heart race. One afternoon, as he fumbled with the flowers again, Ino caught his wrist. "You're hopeless, Naruto, but maybe that's what I like about you." He blinked. "Like about me?" Ino smirked, her blue eyes sparkling with mischief. "You heard me. You're different from all the guys in this village. Honest, stubborn, real. You don't put on masks. And after everything we've been through, I think that's kind of attractive." Naruto's face went red instantly. He opened his mouth to respond, but Ino pressed a finger to his lips. "Relax, hero. I'm not asking for an answer. Just think about it." When she let go, Naruto's heart was still hammering, and he realized Ino wasn't playing around anymore. Temari, on the other hand, was harder to read. Their interactions were fiery, filled with arguments and sharp remarks, yet beneath it all, Naruto sensed something else. During a mission in the Land of Rivers, they were forced into dangerous combat against rogue shinobi. Naruto, reckless as always, took a hit to protect Temari. Though the wound wasn't serious, Temari's reaction shocked him. "Idiot," she yelled, dragging him to safety. "Why do you always put yourself in danger for others? Do you want to die?" Naruto grinned weakly, clutching his side. "Guess it's just who I am." Temari's hands trembled as she pressed bandages against his wound. Her eyes burned with anger, but her voice cracked. "Do you know how many people would miss you if something happened? You think being a hero gives you the right to throw your life away?" Naruto blinked, stunned by the raw emotion in her voice. For the first time, he saw past her fierce exterior and into the vulnerable heart beneath. Slowly, he placed his hand over hers. "Temari, I'm not going anywhere. I promise." She looked at him, her cheeks flushed, and for a brief second, her grip tightened on his hand before she quickly pulled away, muttering, "Don't make promises you can't keep, idiot." Quote, but Naruto knew then, Temari cared more than she let on. As days turned to weeks, whispers began to spread. Naruto spending time with Sakura, being seen laughing with Ino, traveling with Temari, it didn't go unnoticed. The village, always eager for gossip, began speculating. Even among their friends, tension built. Kiba nudged Naruto one day, smirking. "Oi, Naruto, what's going on? First Sakura, now Ino, and I even saw you walking with Temari. You building a fan club or something?" Naruto's face turned crimson. "Shut up, Kiba. It's not like that." But deep down, Naruto couldn't deny it. His heart was being pulled in different directions, and he didn't know how to stop it. Even Hinata, though she tried to move on, felt the whispers like knives in her chest. She avoided Naruto whenever she could, burying herself in training. Naruto noticed, guilt heavy in his chest, but he knew approaching her would only make it worse. One evening, Naruto sat alone at Ichiraku Ramen, staring at his bowl, lost in thought. Tsuki watched him with fatherly concern. "You look troubled, Naruto. Too much on your mind." Naruto chuckled softly. "Guess you could say that. Fighting enemies, saving the world, that was easy. But this, figuring out what my heart wants. It's harder than any battle I've fought." Ayami leaned in, smiling gently. "Maybe that's because it's not about winning or losing. It's about being honest, with yourself, and with the people you care about." Naruto froze at her words, realizing the truth. He couldn't run from this. He had walked away from Hinata to follow his heart, but now that same heart was tangled in ways he never imagined. If he wanted to move forward, he would have to face it. Answer, Naruto made a silent promise to himself. He wouldn't let fear or confusion control him. He would find his path, no matter how complicated it became. Because that was who he was, Naruto Uzumaki. But what he didn't realize was that his decision would soon spark jealousy, rivalry, and emotions that could change not only his love life but also the bonds of his closest friends. The storm inside his heart was just beginning. 9/21, 11:40 a.m. Vivavat, Naruto had always thought the battlefield was where conflicts reached their peak, kunai clashing, jutsu exploding, life hanging by a thread. But now, he was learning that the battlefield of emotions was far more dangerous. And the women around him, each with her own feelings and strength, were unknowingly pulling him into a storm he couldn't escape. The first clash came sooner than Naruto expected. It was a quiet afternoon, the sun high in the sky, when he walked through the village with Sakura. They were laughing lightly, talking about Kakashi's endless love for Ika books, when Ino appeared on the road, carrying a basket of flowers. Oi, forehead, Ino smirked, though her eyes immediately flicked toward Naruto. Didn't know you had time to drag Naruto around. Thought you were too busy waiting for Sasuke. Sakura stiffened, her smile fading instantly. Shut up, Ino, we're just talking. Ino raised a brow, stepping closer, her gaze fixed on Naruto. Talking, huh, funny, because every time I see Naruto these days, it's with you. You sure it's not something more? Quote, Naruto froze, his cheeks burning. Wait, it's not like that. He stammered, waving his hands. But the tension between the two women was unmistakable. Sakura's fists clenched. What are you implying, Ino? Quote, Ino smirked again, though her voice had a sharper edge now. Nothing. Just that maybe you don't get to hog him all to yourself. Naruto's stomach churned. He had faced Akatsuki, Madara, even Kaguya, but this was terrifying. Before Sakura could fire back, Temari's voice cut through the air. Pathetic. All three turned to see her leaning casually against a wall, arms crossed, her teal eyes sharp. Bickering over a guy in the middle of the street. You two really want the whole village to see how childish you are. Sakura flushed, embarrassed, while Ino narrowed her eyes. And what, you think you're better, Sand Princess? Don't think I haven't noticed the way you look at him. Quote, Temari's smirk was cool and unbothered. At least I don't hide behind fake excuses. When I want something, I fight for it openly. Her eyes shifted to Naruto, piercing and direct. Isn't that right, idiot? Quote, Naruto's mouth went dry. He had never seen Sakura, Ino, and Temari all in the same place like this, and the heat between them was unbearable. People passing by had even started whispering, curious about the scene. Enough, Naruto finally shouted, his voice stronger than he expected. The women fell silent, surprised. He looked at each of them in turn, his heart pounding. I don't know what's happening between us. I didn't ask for any of this. I'm confused enough already without everyone fighting like this. Sakura's expression softened, guilt flashing in her eyes. Ino looked away, biting her lip. Temari, however, held his gaze for a long moment before simply shrugging. Then figure it out, Naruto. Because you can't stand in the middle forever. With that, she turned and walked away, her presence as commanding as ever. Sakura and Ino exchanged a tense look before going their separate ways as well, leaving Naruto standing alone in the street, his heart heavier than ever. That night, sleep refused to come. Naruto lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind replayed the scene again and again, Sakura's soft touch, Ino's bold words, Temari's fierce challenge. He had walked away from Hinata because he wanted honesty, because he didn't want to lie to himself. But now, wasn't he doing the same thing again? Pretending he could handle it, pretending he could ignore the growing feelings stirring inside him. Kurama's voice rumbled inside his mind. You're an idiot, you know that. Naruto blinked. Oi, what's that supposed to mean? You've fought gods, survived things no human should survive, and yet you're scared of a few women. Kurama snorted. Pathetic. Naruto groaned. This isn't a fight, furball. This is feelings. You wouldn't understand. Kurama chuckled darkly. Maybe not, but I know this, you can't run from your heart. Sooner or later, you'll have to choose. And when you do, someone's going to get hurt. Naruto swallowed hard, the truth of Kurama's words sinking in. He had always hated hurting people, hated causing pain. But in this battle, no matter what he did, someone's heart would bleed. Days later, a mission arrived that forced the situation further. Naruto, Sakura, and Ino was sent to assist a small border village with Temari joining as the Sans representative. The four of them together, it was a recipe for chaos. The mission itself was simple, defend the village from bandits. But the nights spent around the campfire were far from simple. Sakura stayed close to Naruto, often checking his injuries even when he insisted he was fine. Ino teased him relentlessly, slipping into his personal space just to see him blush. And Temari, she watched it all with sharp eyes, occasionally throwing a smirk his way as if daring him to take control. One night, when Sakura had gone to gather herbs and Ino had fallen asleep, Temari sat beside Naruto, the crackling fire casting shadows on her face. "You know, you're going to break them," she said suddenly. Naruto turned to her, startled. "What do you mean?" "Those two," Temari gestured toward Sakura and Ino. "They're both falling for you. And you're too blind to see how deep it's going. If you keep this up, you'll shatter them both." Quote, Naruto's chest tightened. "I don't want to hurt anyone. I never do." Temari leaned closer, her voice low but firm. "Then don't hide. Be honest. Decide what you want, or someone else will decide for you." Quote, her words struck him harder than any enemy's attack ever had. And when her hand brushed against his under the flickering firelight, Naruto realized something terrifying. His heart wasn't just restless anymore. It was falling, in more than one direction. By the time they returned to Konoha, Naruto knew things couldn't stay the same. The rivalry between Sakura and Ino was growing sharper, Temari wasn't backing down, and whispers in the village were louder than ever. Naruto Uzumaki, the boy who once dreamed only of acknowledgement, now found himself drowning in the acknowledgement of too many hearts. And the storm had only just begun. 9/21, 11:41 a.m., Vivavat, the days after the mission felt heavier than any weight Naruto had carried. Training grounds that once echoed with laughter and friendly rivalry now carried a strange tension whenever Sakura and Ino were both present. Even Shikamaru noticed it, muttering, "Troublesome," under his breath when he saw the way the girl's eyes followed Naruto. But it wasn't just them anymore. Temari, though subtle, wasn't backing down. She visited Konoha more frequently for diplomatic purposes, but Naruto wasn't naive enough to believe it was only politics. Every time she saw him, there was that sharp gaze, that smirk that seemed to cut straight through his mask of confusion. It all finally came to a head one evening at the training ground. Naruto had just finished sparring with Sakura, both of them sweaty and breathless. She smiled at him, that rare soft smile she only let slip when her guard was down. Before Naruto could say anything, Ino arrived, a bouquet of flowers in her hand. "Thought you'd need these, hero," she said cheerfully, though her eyes narrowed slightly when she saw how close Sakura was standing. "You always manage to hurt yourself, after all." Sakura stiffened, her fists clenching. "We were training. Nothing serious." Ino smirked. "Oh, I can see that. You always find a reason to spend extra time with him, don't you?" Forehead. Quote, Naruto gulped, sweat trickling down his neck. He knew where this was going, and it terrified him more than facing Madara. Before he could intervene, Temari's voice rang out from behind. "Tch, if you two keep clawing at each other over him, you'll both lose." Quote, the three women now stood facing one another, the tension so thick Naruto could barely breathe. Sakura's voice rose first, sharp and cutting. "What do you even want, Ino? You flirt with everyone. Don't act like this is serious." Quote, Ino's eyes flashed. "And you've been chasing Sasuke your whole life. Don't act like Naruto is your consolation prize." Naruto's heart sank at the words, but before he could react, Temari stepped forward. "At least they admit their feelings, in their own way. You both act like children, fighting over scraps. When I want something, I go after it openly. And right now," her eyes locked on Naruto, burning with a fire that silenced them all. "I want him." The air went still. Naruto's face turned crimson, his breath caught in his throat. He could hear his own heartbeat pounding like a war drum. Sakura's eyes widened in shock, Ino's mouth dropped open, and for once, neither had a witty comeback. "Temari," Naruto managed to whisper, but the words stuck in his throat. Temari didn't flinch. She took another step toward him, her presence overwhelming. "You've been pretending you don't notice, Naruto. But I see it. You're lost, torn between all of us, too afraid to choose." "Well, I'm not afraid." So I'll say it here, in front of them, I like you. More than that, I want you. The confession hit Naruto harder than any Rasengan. His chest tightened, his stomach twisted, and his mind spun. Sakura's fist shook at her sides, her lips trembling as if she wanted to shout but couldn't. Ino looked away, her usual confidence shattered for a moment. Naruto stood frozen, the weight of the gazes crushing him. For once, he didn't know what to say. He, the boy who always shouted his dreams, always charged forward without hesitation, was paralyzed. Because no matter what words left his lips now, someone's heart would break. Kurama's voice rumbled inside him, gruff but oddly amused. Well, Kit, looks like you've got yourself a real war on your hands. Not the kind you can win with fists or jutsu. Naruto clenched his hands into fists, staring at the ground. He could feel their emotions swirling around him, Sakura's pain, Ino's determination, Temari's boldness. Each of them deserved an answer. Each of them deserved the truth. But could he even give it? Enough, Naruto finally said, his voice hoarse. He lifted his head, meeting their eyes one by one. I can't answer right now. I don't want to hurt any of you. But I won't lie either. My heart, it's confused. I need time. The silence that followed was deafening. Sakura turned away, hiding the tears that threatened to fall. Ino bit her lips so hard it nearly bled. Temari's expression didn't change, but her eyes softened, just for a moment. Then figure it out, Naruto, she said quietly, before walking away. Ino left next, her perfume lingering in the air like a bittersweet memory. Sakura followed silently, her steps heavy. And Naruto, he stood alone in the fading light, the weight of their hearts pressing down on him harder than the fate of the shinobi world ever had. For once, he didn't know if he was strong enough to carry it. But deep inside, Naruto knew one thing. He couldn't avoid it forever. The path ahead would demand choices, sacrifices, and courage of a different kind. And this time, the battle wasn't for the world. It was for love. 9/21, 11:42 a.m., Vivavit. Naruto tried to throw himself into missions and training, but no amount of jutsu could burn away the thoughts that haunted him. He couldn't escape the memory of Temari's bold confession, Sakura's trembling silence, or Ino's wounded pride. Each night, when he closed his eyes, he saw their faces, their eyes full of emotions he wasn't ready to face. Even his friends noticed the change. Shikamaru, ever the observer, finally confronted him. You're not yourself, Naruto, he said, leaning lazily against a railing near the Hokage's office. You've fought gods without flinching, but right now you look like a guy who lost a fight before it even began. Naruto sighed heavily, rubbing the back of his neck. It's not that simple, Shikamaru. I don't want to hurt them. Sakura, Ino, Temari, they're all important to me. I don't know what to do. Shikamaru smirked faintly. Troublesome as hell. But here's the thing, you can't protect everyone from heartbreak. No matter what choice you make, someone's going to bleed. So the real question is, are you going to keep running, or are you finally going to be honest with yourself? Quote, Naruto didn't answer, but Shikamaru's words lingered, cutting deeper than he wanted to admit. The confrontation happened days later. Sakura asked Naruto to meet her near the old Team 7 training ground. When he arrived, she was already there, standing by the broken wooden posts where they used to spar. Her pink hair swayed in the wind, her green eyes determined yet trembling. Do you remember? She asked softly, glancing at the posts. When we were kids, training here, arguing, chasing after dreams, you never gave up. On anything. Naruto smiled faintly. Yeah, guess some things never change. Sakura took a deep breath, her hands clenching. Then don't give up on me either. Naruto froze. His heart slammed against his ribs as Sakura stepped closer, her voice shaking but firm. I know I hurt you in the past. I know I was blind, chasing Sasuke, ignoring what was right in front of me. But things are different now. After the war, after everything we've been through, I see you, Naruto. The real you. And I, her eyes shimmered with tears. I love you. The words struck like lightning. For years, Naruto had dreamed of hearing them, but now, they twisted inside him with guilt and confusion. He opened his mouth to respond, but before he could, a voice cut through the clearing. Well, isn't this cozy? Ino stepped out from the trees, her eyes cold, her usual playful smirk nowhere to be seen. Confessing to him alone, Sakura. That's low, even for you. Sakura's face hardened. This isn't your business, Ino. Oh, it's very much my business, Ino shot back, stepping closer, her gaze locked on Naruto. Because I care about him too. And unlike you, I'm not using him to fill the hole Sasuke left behind. Sakura flinched as if struck. That's not. Naruto stepped forward, hands raised desperately. Stop, both of you. This isn't. But neither listened. Years of rivalry, of suppressed tension, erupted like fire. Sakura's voice rose, sharp with pain. You don't know what you're talking about, Ino. Naruto means more to me than you'll ever understand. Quote. Ino's eyes glistened, though her anger didn't falter. Then prove it, because I won't back down this time, forehead. Not when it comes to him. Naruto's chest ached. He couldn't stand it, seeing the two of them tearing into each other, both for his sake. But before he could say anything more, Temari's voice echoed across the clearing, calm yet cutting. You two are pathetic. They all turned to see her standing there, arms crossed, teal eyes blazing with quiet fury. Shouting, crying, throwing accusations like children. You think this will make him choose you. All you're doing is proving you don't trust his heart. Sakura's fist shook. Ino bit her lip hard. Naruto's heart raced. And then, Temari did something no one expected. She walked straight up to Naruto, her eyes never wavering, and took his hand in hers. The world seemed to stop. You don't have to say anything right now, she said, her voice steady, meant only for him. But I want you to know, I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to pretend. I just need you to be real with me. That's all. Her hand was warm, grounding, and Naruto felt something in his chest loosen. The sincerity in her eyes, the strength behind her words, it was overwhelming. Sakura's breath hitched, her tears finally spilling. Ino turned away, her shoulders trembling. Naruto looked at all three of them, his throat tight, his mind screaming for an answer he didn't have. Because the truth was terrifying. He was falling for all of them. That night, Naruto lay awake under the stars, unable to sleep. His heart was a battlefield, torn in three directions. Sakura's confession, raw and vulnerable. Ino's determination, fierce and unyielding. Temari's boldness, her hand still lingering in his memory. For the first time in his life, Naruto Uzumaki was afraid, not of enemies, not of death, but of love. And deep inside, he knew this storm was only the beginning. 9/21, 11:43 a.m., Vivavit, the next day, tension in Konoha was almost tangible. Rumors had spread like wildfire. Team 7 Sakura and Ino of the Yamanaka clan had nearly come to blows over Naruto. Everyone whispered, everyone speculated, but no one dared say anything to Naruto's face. Except Tsunade. Brat, she snapped, slamming a bottle of sake on her desk when Naruto walked into her office. You're a shinobi of this village, not some love-struck fool letting Konoiki tear each other apart. Over you. Do something about it before it gets worse. Naruto winced. Tsunade Bar-chan, it's not like I asked for this. I didn't even. Doesn't matter. Tsunade's eyes narrowed. The longer you avoid it, the more dangerous it gets. Love triangles. Fine. Love chaos that could divide entire clans. That's war. The word hit him like a hammer. War. Over him. The thought made him sick. That night, Naruto sought peace by training outside the village walls. He slammed Razingans into stone pillars until his arms shook, until sweat drenched his body. But the turmoil in his chest didn't fade. You'll break your own bones before you figure this out. Naruto turned sharply. Temari stood nearby, arms folded, her giant fan resting against the ground. Moonlight reflected in her teal eyes, calm but piercing. Temari, she smirked faintly. You think I'd let you stew in this alone? Please, you're too loud, even when you're quiet. Naruto dropped to the ground, exhausted. I don't know what to do, Temari. Sakura, Ino, and then you, I feel like I'm betraying everyone no matter what I choose. Quote, Temari walked closer, kneeling in front of him. For once, her tough exterior softened. Listen, idiot. Love isn't about not hurting anyone. It's about being honest, with yourself, and with them. She hesitated, then placed her hand gently on his cheek. And I think you already know who's in your heart. You're just too scared to admit it. Naruto's breath caught. Her touch was warm, grounding, steady, so different from the chaos inside him. His hand instinctively rose, covering hers, holding it in place. For a brief, dangerous moment, the air between them crackled with something undeniable. Then a sharp voice cut through the night. Of course, I should have known. Both froze. Sakura stood at the edge of the training field, her face pale, eyes wide with betrayal. Behind her, Ino's expression was unreadable, but her clenched fists trembled at her sides. Naruto shot to his feet, panic flooding his chest. Sakura, it's not. But Sakura's voice broke, raw and trembling. All this time, I thought maybe I had a chance. And you? Her eyes darted to Temari's hand still half raised, then back to him. You chose her. Ino stepped forward, her voice like ice. So it's true then. You've been leading us on while sneaking around with her. That's not fair. Naruto's voice cracked. I didn't. Temari, however, didn't back down. She rose to her full height, chin lifted proudly. I wasn't sneaking around. I told him how I felt. At least I had the guts to be honest instead of dancing around it like children. Sakura's hands shook violently, her chakra sparking faintly around her fists. Ino's eyes burned with a mix of fury and heartbreak. Naruto felt like the ground had vanished beneath him. For years, he had fought enemies who wanted to destroy the world. But now, he realized with a sick twist of fear, this was the battle he wasn't ready for. Because this time, the people he loved were ready to destroy each other. That night, as the village slept, Naruto stared at the stars from his rooftop, his mind heavy. He could still hear Sakura's sob, still see Ino's trembling fists, still feel Temari's hand on his cheek. His heart ached with every breath. He whispered into the night, his voice breaking. I don't know how to choose, but if I don't, I'll lose them all. And for the first time since the war ended, Naruto Uzumaki felt truly powerless. 9/21, 11:44 a.m., Vivavat. The tension didn't fade, it only grew. The very next day, whispers spread across the village like wildfire. Sakura and Ino had challenged each other to a spar. Not a friendly training match. A real fight. And the reason? Everyone already knew. Naruto. By the time Naruto arrived at the training grounds, half the village had gathered. Anbu agents stood at the edges, tense but ordered not to interfere unless things became deadly. Tsunade herself stood watching, her jaw tight. In the center, Sakura and Ino faced each other. No smiles, no teasing, just burning hatred in their eyes. You're pathetic, Ino, Sakura spat. Clinging to Naruto just because you couldn't beat me at anything else. Quote, Ino's smirk was sharp, but her eyes glistened with rage. At least I'm not trying to replace the man who left me with the one who's been there all along. You don't love him, you're just scared of being alone. Quote, gasps echoed through the crowd. Enough, Naruto shouted, rushing forward. But before he could reach them, the fight exploded. Sakura lunged, her fist glowing with monstrous chakra. Ino darted aside, her agility saving her as the ground cracked where Sakura struck. Ino retaliated with a barrage of kunai, each infused with chakra threads that danced like lightning. Sakura shattered them with a single punch, her strength unmatched. Stop it! Naruto's voice roared across the field, but they didn't hear him. Ino leapt forward, her hands flashing in a seal. Mind transfer jutsu. Sakura dodged, but the edge of the technique grazed her, sending a wave of dizziness through her body. She staggered but regained control almost instantly, snarling. You think that'll stop me? Sakura's fist blazed as she charged again. Naruto's heart thundered. He couldn't let them do this, not for him. Not like this. Just as Sakura's punch arced toward Ino, a powerful gust of wind roared through the arena, knocking both kunoiki backward. Enough already. Temari stood at the edge of the field, her giant fan slammed into the ground, dust swirling around her like a storm. Her eyes blazed as she glared at both girls. "You're acting like spoiled children while the whole damn village watches. Is this what Naruto means to you? A trophy to fight over?" The crowd fell silent. Sakura's chest heaved, her fists trembling. Ino's eyes burned with unshed tears. Both looked away, humiliated but still seething. Naruto stepped forward slowly, his fists clenched so hard his nails dug into his palms. "I told you both, I don't want this. I don't want you tearing each other apart because of me." His voice cracked, louder than it had been in battle. "I don't care how strong I am, I can't watch the people I care about destroy each other." His words hit like a bombshell. Sakura froze. Ino's breath caught. Even Temari softened, her hand lowering from her fan. For a moment, silence reigned. Then Naruto whispered, so quietly only those closest could hear, "I love all of you. And I don't know how to stop." The world seemed to tilt. Sakura's tears spilled freely. Ino's lips trembled. Temari's eyes widened, her composure cracking for the first time. Naruto stood there, raw and vulnerable, his heart finally laid bare. And in that instant, everyone realized, this wasn't a triangle, or even a rivalry. It was a storm, and Naruto Uzumaki was right in the middle of it. 9/21, 11:45 a.m., Vivavat. The next evening, Konoha was quiet, almost eerily so. Naruto had slipped out of the village under the pretense of patrol duty, but in truth, he needed space. Space from the chaos, the rivalry, the guilt weighing on him like a mountain. He found himself near the training grounds, sitting atop a hill where the wind carried the soft scent of grass and earth. For the first time in weeks, he let himself breathe. Finally, some peace, he muttered, his shoulders sagging. A shadow fell across the hill. Running again, Naruto looked up to see Temari, her teal eyes catching the last rays of sunlight. She didn't approach aggressively. She simply stood there, calm but commanding, her presence filling the space. I just needed," Naruto began, but she held up a hand. "No excuses." Her voice was steady, firm, yet soft in a way that made his heart pound. "I want the real you. Not the confused, guilt-ridden hero. Not the guy hiding from everyone. The real Naruto." Naruto swallowed. "Temari, I don't want to hurt anyone. Sakura, Ino, everyone." Temari shook her head slowly. "Then stop worrying about everyone for one moment. Just be here with me. Just be yourself." Her words were simple, but they carried weight. Naruto felt a pull he couldn't resist. Slowly, he moved closer, and for the first time, the tension of the day, the chaos of the village, even the chaos of his own heart, seemed to fade. Temari's hand brushed his arm lightly. It wasn't a flirty touch, not playful like Ino's, not tentative like Sakura's. It was grounding, like an anchor in a storm. Naruto looked at her, startled. "Temari." Her eyes softened. "I'm serious, Naruto. I don't need your promises, your heroics, just you. Right here, right now." The wind picked up, tousling their hair, wrapping them in a cocoon of quiet intensity. Naruto's heart pounded so loud he was sure she could hear it. He reached out, hesitating only a moment before taking her hand in both of his. Temari's gaze never wavered, but for a second, something shifted in her expression, softness, vulnerability, something only he could see. "Temari," Naruto whispered, almost afraid to speak. I don't know what to do. My heart, I love them all. But this, I don't want to lose this moment." Temari's lips curved slightly, almost a smile, though serious. "Then don't think. Just feel. You won't lose me." And for a moment, the world disappeared. No rivalries, no village, no judgment, only them. The quiet, the wind, the warmth of her hand in his. Naruto had never felt such a strange mixture of fear and peace. Suddenly, a voice shattered the moment. "Not again." Both turned sharply. Sakura and Ino stood at the base of the hill, their expressions a storm of anger, hurt, and disbelief. "Seriously, Naruto?" Sakura spat, her eyes wet. "You're here, with her." Ino stepped forward, fists clenched. "You promised us, and now this." Naruto's chest tightened. He hadn't meant for this to happen. But Temari, still holding his hand, gave him a small nod. She was calm, almost daring them to speak. "Let me be clear," Temari said firmly, standing slightly in front of him. "He is not yours to claim. Nor am I here for your judgment. If you want to fight for him, then fight, fairly. But I will not step aside for games or jealousy." Sakura's hands shook, tears threatening to spill. Ino's glare could cut steel. Naruto felt trapped between storms, three of the strongest women in his life, each demanding a part of him. But then, Temari squeezed his hand. Not aggressively, not possessively, just a quiet reassurance. Naruto drew in a shaky breath. I can't do this right now. Not with fighting, not with anger, he looked at Temari, feeling her steady presence. "I just need to figure out my heart. And I'm starting here, with honesty. No running, no hiding." For the first time in weeks, Temari smiled fully, not teasing, not challenging, but soft and real. The night wrapped around them, tense but intimate, and Naruto realized something terrifying and wand. RFUL, he wasn't afraid of battle. He was afraid of this heart, because it had the power to destroy and heal all at once. And yet, for the first time, he felt a spark of clarity. He didn't have all the answers, but he was ready to face the storm. 9/21, 11:46 a.m., Vivavat, Naruto sat atop the hill, Temari's hand still in his, the night sky stretching endlessly above them. The air was heavy with unspoken words, the quiet broken only by the distant rustle of leaves and the faint sound of the village bellow. He exhaled slowly, realizing just how deep the storm had grown. Sakura's confession, Ino's unrelenting determination, Temari's bold honesty, it was overwhelming. And yet, for the first time, he felt a clarity he hadn't felt in weeks. Temari's voice, soft but firm, broke his thoughts. "Naruto, you can't keep running from this. You've tried, I know. But running doesn't solve anything. Feeling, choosing, and being honest, that's your battle now." Quote. Naruto nodded, squeezing her hand in silent gratitude. "I know, I need to make sure I don't hurt anyone." Temari tilted her head, her eyes narrowing in that signature piercing way. "Then stop worrying about hurting them with words you haven't said. Hurt comes when you lie, Naruto. Don't lie. Be real. That's all I ask." He blinked. Her words hit him deeper than any enemy ever had. Lying had always been his shield, his mask. But Temari's words pierced through it. Be real. No hiding. No running. He looked out over Konoha, the village he had fought for, the people he loved, and the bonds that tied him to them all. It was chaos, but it was his chaos, and for the first time, he didn't feel entirely lost in it. "I'll try," he whispered, more to himself than to her. Temari's hand lingered in his. She didn't pull away, didn't demand more. For now, just this moment, they had honesty. Suddenly, distant laughter reached them. Sakura and Ino had returned, having calmed down for the night. They didn't approach immediately, sensing the quiet intensity. Naruto felt his chest tighten again. This wasn't over. It never would be over. Not while hearts were involved. Sakura finally stepped forward, voice soft. "Naruto, I just want you to know I meant everything I said before. I love you." Ino followed, voice quieter now, but her eyes still fierce. "And I won't give up either. I just need you to be honest with yourself, with us." Quote. Naruto's heart ached. All three of them, staring at him, raw and unfiltered, trusting him with their feelings. He swallowed hard, words catching in his throat. I don't have answers yet," he admitted. "I care about all of you. And I want to figure this out. Honestly. No lies, no running." Temari squeezed his hand lightly, giving him courage. Sakura's eyes softened, tears glimmering. Ino's lips pressed together, struggling with her pride, but her posture eased. For now, there was truce. Temporary, fragile, but real. Naruto exhaled, finally feeling the weight lift slightly. He wasn't running. He wasn't hiding. He was standing in the middle of a storm, but for the first time, he felt ready to face it. Temari let go of his hand, stepping back slightly. "This isn't over," she said, voice teasing but certain. It'll only get harder from here. But at least now, you're honest. Naruto smiled faintly, exhaustion and relief mixing. Yeah, honest. That's a start. The night deepened, stars twinkling above like silent witnesses to the chaos below. And though part one of this storm was ending, Naruto knew, he had stepped into the heart of something far bigger than any battle he had faced before. Something far more dangerous. Something called love. And for the first time, he wasn't running from it. If you enjoy this fanfic, then please like and subscribe my channel Narutofix 11 for more fanfic guys. Thank you.